Ever open yourself up to love only to be betrayed? It's a feeling that can stick with you longer than you ever imagined. Let's get into it. Welcome to Wandering the Wild Mess with Heather Morgan. I am so happy that you're here. Y'all, I am so excited to Actually, I'll lie. I'm excited and nervous. I'm nervous to talk about this, but I have been feeling so called, and I just know so many people experiencing this. And I first want to tell you, obviously, thanks for being here, for listening. I've had a number of people reach out to me recently, which just warms my heart, saying that my messages are really encouraging them when they're navigating, whether it's starting over in life or a divorce or heartbreak or trying to understand the end of a relationship or where they go in their life. And so I wanted to talk about something that unfortunately happens to a lot of us and takes some time to rebuild. And I want to talk it through with a personal story and kind of help you reframe this and realize you're not alone, you're not unworthy, you're not unloved because this situation happens to so many people. But I think sometimes we flip it and we use anger to be like, well, they're lost and that's great. But I think that oftentimes things happen in relationships that come to you like a mirror and can actually teach you a lot of things about yourself and your worthiness and your self-love that can help you rebuild parts of yourself so that when you're ready to open your heart up again, you don't let that betrayal come with you into the new relationship, or at least not as fully, right? Because everyone brings a level of baggage, especially if you've had some heartbreak in relationships. But betrayal is one of those things where you're like, will I trust again? And obviously betrayal can come in a lot of ways, but I want to talk about in this episode. And so if you're feeling this, the first time that I was cheated on, and it was after my divorce, my only one relationship since. And that was so wild. And I can only really freely just acknowledge it now because it's been over a year and it's like that ship has sailed a long time ago and I have no emotions to that now. But I realized I had some friends be like, oh, you handled that really well. Oh yeah, da da da. Or people just thinking that I just handle things so well. And I appreciate that. And although I do believe I do put a lot of effort in that, I wanted to share how I reframe things and acknowledge too that even though it may appear that I'm so good at handling that, that was a really low point for me. And the wild thing about it is it wasn't because I wanted this relationship back with this man. It was because I looked at all of the things that I ignored from my own intuition, my own self-worth, that I was like, why did I do that? And so I kind of want to take you down this journey with me and we'll kind of set the scene and how I was able to reframe that. And hopefully it can help you if you're going through that same situation where you're feeling betrayed or you're in a relationship where maybe you've let someone betray you or be unfaithful and you would know in your heart that this isn't the right thing for you, but you keep staying. And I'm not telling anyone to leave their marriage or leave their relationship or anything. But what I'm telling you is that your soul and heart knows if you should stay in that relationship or not. And you know, but it's whether or not you're in a place to really fully accept that and move in the direction so you can find what's meant for you. Because I've said this before, you cannot have what's meant for you while you're holding on to what's not. It's just not how you have to make space for new things to come in your life. And so if you're still in the relationship with someone that you know is just passing the time, but it's not meant for you, then the person that's meant for you is not finding you at that time. That's just not how it works, right? So there's only, you have a 2-car garage, you can't fit 3. So just analogical. So let's kind of go down this path really quickly. And I'm sharing this because I was like, is that embarrassing? Even though I think people think it's embarrassing when they get cheated on, like, oh, you got cheated on. But I kind of think like, honestly, that's more about them and less about me. And personally, and I'm not passing judgment on anyone else, it would be more embarrassing if I stayed knowing that it could happen again for me personally, than if I saw it happen and I was like, I'm good. And so that's kind of what happened with this. So I'll paint the scene. So, I talked about it. And like a year ago, I released an episode on this first relationship. And if you go back and listen to it, you'll hear like there were really great things about this man that were very kind. I think that he, I'm not shaming him at all for being him. I just am really reflecting on myself and the choices that I made when I knew this wasn't for me. So a lot of things, there was a lot of this man was like bending over backward, really like making it like I was everything to him at the beginning. And that was great. I was kind of like, and I wasn't sure of this man from the beginning. Like the first weekend, I think I said it before, we spent together. I was like, my friend's like, are you going to see him again? I'm like, I don't know. Like I was not, and this isn't about him. It was just not where the place. I wasn't really looking for a relationship, even though I had been like a little over a year post-divorce or whatever at the time. And, he kind of just, I was just like, I guess since he's like doing all this, that this is supposed to be. But there was like early signs, probably like into the second week we were talking and like spending time together, like something occurred that I immediately went back into like feeling like this would be a behavior that I saw in my marriage that I would not want. And I told a couple of my friends about it and they were like, oh, that's not that big of a deal. He was drunk and he called you, but he thought of you. He wanted to call you. And, I don't know. I was like, it was the feeling. And I kind of listened to them, instead of my own intuition. And that's kind of what this is about. Like you already know within yourself. You don't need to seek and ask other people. I know sometimes it feels validating, but you really already know. So I knew. And if I could go back in time, even though I wouldn't change, like that should have been the moment that I was like, yeah, I don't really think this is for me. That was probably the first. But then I think sometimes, and it's not like nothing can go wrong, but it's a different than an action where you're like, oh, that thing. It's how you feel when it happens. And that's what I learned. And that's what I'm telling you from this. Like take your relationships that didn't work out and start learning from them, right? I have a plug website, Wandering the Wild Mess, my Breaking the Loop guide. Y'all, it goes through these same prompts that I'm doing to say, like, why am I having these same behaviors? Why are they? Because you're not looking at why you're accepting those things. And that's what I was doing. So there was so many little, and I don't even know if I want to call them like red flags. Just my intuition, myself knowing like this is not it. And be honest with yourself. When you're with some person, whether this could be like a business deal, a friend, or a relationship where you're like, just something isn't right. This is your reminder to trust that. And that's kind of how this was. So fast forward, we carry on, and there's one point, and it's around like a holiday, like I think it's like around the 4th of July. Like it's just, things are just, the vibe has just shifted. And he was still like needing to do some healing through his like marriage or divorce. And obviously I'm not saying I didn't either, but I think it was just a little bit different. And because I'm the one who left, and his situation was ironically her being unfaithful in the marriage. So anyways, we're kind of on a break, and you're coming to me who has never really dated for so long. I don't really know what a break is. I don't really know. We're still talking every day. I don't really know. Like, I should have just asked again, back to communicate, Heather. Why didn't you tell him, well, what does a break mean? We're just kind of on this break. And I end up going to Florida and doing this trip with the dog. And then I end up in Destin at some point. I'm like in Daytona. It's a whole thing. And I have podcast episodes there. So all this is going on at the time. He comes out to Destin to see me. And as soon as I pick him up from the airport, I just feel like the ship is sailed, but we're kind of just like having a time. So I talked to my therapist. She's like, you should do it in person. And I think I mentioned this in the other episode, but long story short, I go to Knoxville because it's not like I can say, let's go to dinner. So we planned for me to spend like the week there. And I thought, we'll just have fun and let it be. And I'll say like, this isn't going anywhere. Well, I get there, the vibe is already off. And the weird thing is when I get there, his phone goes off while we're sitting on the couch. I've never thought about this man's phone once in this whole time. I had never thought about this man's phone. And I had an ex-husband who, props to him, was such a loyal man. Like I never ever worried about him cheating ever. So this is a whole new feeling for me that's why I'm sharing this, because it was such a contrast to what I was used to. So I am like, why did that feel that way when his phone went off? And I already knew I was breaking up with him. So it's not even like I already knew it was ending, but I still got the feeling. So I'm telling you that the feeling, it's a feeling, like listen to it. You cannot fake that. So we end up going to bed, and the next day he goes to work. And then the next morning I'm at his house and I have these drawers that I usually put my stuff in. And so I'm kind of like going to put, some of my clothes in this drawer, and there's these high heels. And I'm like, and I already knew. I just already knew. And I was like, so I was trying to figure out, like, am I going to say something? Do I just like let it go and then break up with them like at the end, like I had planned, and all these things. And then I'm like, I'm just not going to be able to like not say something, like not act normal. Like I don't think I'm that girl. So he gets home and my energy's off, and like he wasn't feeling well. So I end up saying, we're sitting on the bed because he's not feeling well and he like wants to like lay down. And honestly, I feel like, and if I'm being honest, I feel like he wasn't feeling well because he probably felt guilty. Because I do think that sometimes your like things can manifest as like not feeling well when just like after my divorce, I didn't feel like eating. It's like your body hates the feeling. And I just say something like, I think I bring up the shoes. Like I saw the high heels, like, did you sleep with someone else? Or were you with someone else? Whatever. And he says, yes. Not excitedly, sorry. Like he was like, yes. Like obviously like not like he was proud of it. No, you could definitely tell there was remorse and felt bad, but it probably felt good to be truthful. So, which I props to that. And so I was just like, okay, like obviously this is done, and I was like planning on breaking up with him anyways, but I thought we were just like, this ship is sailed. We had a great time. Now it's over. No, now, and in the moment I'm not realizing how impactful that is to be cheated on for the first time. Like but I'm understanding in that moment. I understood, okay, this is a lesson for me. I quietly like understood, but then I felt so betrayed by someone who was like working so hard to win me over, and then you cheat on me. Like I'm confused. So I end up being like, I need some air, but I knew I couldn't like drive the 3 or 3.5 hours like back to Nashville from Knoxville that night because it was already late and it was dark and I was like not in the spot for it because I don't know. I just had a lot of weird emotions. So I like left his house to like breathe, and I was like, I'm going to grab some food because I wasn't going to eat anything there. I didn't really feel like eating, but I wanted to leave for a minute, but not far. So I left, and I realized one of my first lessons is when you feel vulnerable in that place where you feel like a little less than or unworthy for whatever reason, you like reach for someone else's attention. And so who do I call? If you listen to the earlier episodes, the initial Knoxville guy, the Army officer, I think at the time he's in Louisiana. And I call him, and we hadn't been talking. I mean, he knew I was in a relationship, so we weren't talking, but he was just like, I'm happy to see you're happy and all that. And I had texted him like, thank you. So I call him and I was like, listen, so like boyfriend I had, you know, how like he cheated on me, but I guess we were on a break. And he was like, Heather, if you're on a break, you just break up with them. Like that doesn't, that means that they're going to be with other people and do whatever they want. And I was like, well, why don't you just break up? Like now, noted. Now I know if someone wants a break, it's just not like now I wouldn't even fathom even like not in any kind of disrespectful way, but I wouldn't even fathom like dating that person now. There wouldn't even be like a version of me wouldn't even like consider that because I understand and I've moved to a different place, you know, like it's almost like not even a thought, but that me was like, oh, well, I'm new to this. Like, I don't know, like, you know, thanks for that. And so I got comfort in, you know, getting some validation from someone else, but I don't know if that was right, but I learned that about myself. And I learned that sometimes it's like, you don't jump to get validation from someone else. It is better if you can sit with it yourself and like really reflect, because another distraction is not going to help heal the wound that has just been placed on your heart. And that doesn't mean, like for me, and I want to make this clear, like the wound, it wasn't like, oh, I thought that I would be with this man forever. I mean, I left a man that I knew half my life. I'm not going to be, I knew that it wasn't about the man because I spent 3 months with you. Like that's a chump change. But you betrayed me in a way that I've never experienced before. And so now this is a new wound that I have to figure out why this lesson is for me, which I had already unpacked in my head, and then take all the learnings from it. And so I go back to his house. I say I'll sleep on the couch and leave in the morning. I wake up in the morning. He's looking over me like it's a whole thing. And I leave. And I think I talked about in another episode. I literally don't talk to him again until some other disruptions in his life come up, and that's a whole other story that's not mine to tell. But I know that everything was for me, and I was exactly protected in the ways that I'm supposed to be, meaning that that was never for me, and the whole purpose of that relationship was lessons. But as I'm trying to navigate it after the fact, I'm like, I start questioning my self-worth. And so this is like after I knew I was done. And ironically, like I just have to say this because I'm a dates girl if you've been listening along all the time. I broke up with him on my wedding anniversary. He didn't know this because we wouldn't talk about it, but it was August 5th. And I didn't plan to break up with him that day. I planned to stay, but like I said, I was planning to stay with him and then go to Utah. But he was sick, so that kind of made me even more be fine breaking up with him early because I was like, I don't want this man to get me sick. Like I'm going snowboarding back home, like all these things. So that is just the irony of me breaking up with the guy that I was with and finding this all out on my wedding anniversary. Like I just don't think you can make that up. And that wasn't even part of the plan. That was just literally the timing and how it unfolded. But okay, so back to just life is wild. So now I'm sitting with this and I'm feeling so lost, and I finally understand because I've had friends back home. I know girls here that have been, and I even know guys, honestly, that have been, betrayed, cheated on, or maybe it's not like a full on, they know they cheated, but they're doing things that probably aren't the vibe for someone that's being faithful. And they always try to like kind of justify it or like pretend it's not that big of a deal or we can get over it. And I'm not saying like you can't. Personally, I already know I can't. Like I'm not the person. I'm not the one. Like, and I wouldn't expect a man to be with me. And if I ever did that, I would not try to talk him into staying with me because I probably wouldn't want to be in that relationship if I did that. Because I wouldn't do that to someone I truly wanted to be with and loved. That's just not what I would do. And so I wouldn't be able to personally get over that. So, but I'm not here to judge if you're someone that I'm not saying you can still forgive, but know that that's not going to work for you. And everyone's what's going to work and what's not going to work is different. So I respect that, but I'm telling you, for me, it's an absolute no. So I was never thinking, could I get back with him? But then there was times where I just wanted him to want me because I felt like discarded. And it was emotion that was really like new to navigate because it was like, oh, okay, you wanted me so much and now you're just like, I'm not good enough. You needed somebody else. And then I'm like, Heather, you're good enough. Like, why would you even say that? The same thing I would tell all my friends that have ever told me about someone being like, are you kidding me? Have you seen yourself? Do you know who you are? Have you seen your heart? You're amazing. Like, of course you don't deserve that. Like, what? So I had to like remember what I had told so many of my friends over the years and try to tell that to myself. But I got where they were coming from because it is hard. I was like, literally like, okay, I need to do this. I need to lose weight. I need to get a new this. I need to literally. The amount of criticism that I was doing on myself because of that betrayal, I was like, oh, maybe if I, had like, I don't even think can I say this? Like, maybe if I had fake boobs, like this was literally a thought. I'm never even like, I don't even know why I would, this is like, and I'm just being honest with y'all. Like, these are the thoughts. This is the kind of like vulnerable truth that goes on when you're feeling like, you're literally picking yourself apart because someone else did something that has nothing really to do with you. And I want to remind you of that. And that's what I had to remember. Like, I know, zooming out, that this had nothing to do with me. And I know they talk about like men and women have different reasons when they cheat. And sometimes men get more of a pass because they're more, I don't know, for lack of better words, like sexual beings in that way, that's like a pass for them. But for me, it just shows a lack of discipline. So that's not an attractive quality in a man for me personally. So I just, outside of the betrayal, it's like you don't have discipline in that place, right? And so I don't find that attractive. So I have to like reframe it in my head. But I even think for a woman the other way, and I talked to one of my friends like when I was in Salt Lake, we ended up grabbing a drink and anyways, shout out to my Pilot, Ohio friend. And he was telling me about a girl that like had been cheating or at least he doesn't really know, but talking to all these men all the time and and how it really made him feel like a little less than. And I was like, dude, that's about her. Like, she needs validation from other people all the time. Like, that's her own personal insecurities coming out in her actions. And that doesn't have anything to do with the quality of man you are. And I think that's what people that get betrayed by that need to realize, because sometimes you think, okay, well, if they pick me again, I'll stay with them because if they pick me again, then I'm worthy. Then I'm better than the other people that they tried to be with. Or like, then it shows that I am good enough. But for me, I want you to think of this reframe. Or does it show you that you haven't found enough self-love within yourself to say, you know what, I really think I deserve someone that picks me always. That picks me always. That I don't have to worry. I don't have to do and try to prove to earn their love, to earn their affection. I don't have to look perfect every second for them to say that's who I want to be with. And I think most people, if you're into a genuine connection and want a meaningful relationship, that's the piece that you need to realize is that is not going to be found when you're continually trying to prove your worth to someone who doesn't see it. That's not a relationship. That's a cat and mouse chase. You're continually like doing this and that for attention. And that's not just two people truly seeing each other and partnering together to make each other's lives better. Because I can tell you that the way I felt after that, there is just no way that I could move through life consciously knowing that that happened with that person and feel secure. I just don't see how I would get there. And I know people do. But if you feel like that you're not that person, if you truly want a meaningful relationship, then maybe it's time to step outside of that. Or maybe you're already out of it. Maybe it's already ending, but you're still rehashing that. Maybe it's time to let go of that anger and frustration about that person that did that, because you don't want someone that doesn't want you. You deserve someone that truly wants you, because then you feel safe. Then you feel like this is where I belong. And I know some of this even stems from people that have grown up maybe with parents that didn't give them a lot of time and attention. They're always like chasing that. So that may feel familiar. But if you're in that scenario where you know that you felt like you had to fight for love and approval by your parents all the time, and so this cheating thing just feels a little bit normal because you're always trying to fight for attention and love and to be good enough for them, I want to remind you, if you could take your little self, that person that was chasing and needing that affection and love from your parent, and get from your parents just unconditional love, that you knew that no matter what, they were there and support you and love you, would you choose that for them? Of course. So now it's your time to choose that for yourself now. Because that same little kid is just going with what they were used to, but they never deserved that, because they were always worthy. You were always worthy of being loved and adored for exactly how you are and how you were then. And so I bring that up because this happens to everyone. And I have to say, the amount of times I listened to Megan Maroney and I was like, dude, this girl got cheated on. And she's like, that was literally, if Megan Maroney ever, like, I was looking at her and like, girl, this girl's like absolutely gorgeous. If someone's cheating on her, like, Heather, why are you even beating yourself up? Like, come on. Like, this is not about you, because some man looked at her and what, and those are just the little things that I did for me. But sometimes you need to like take yourself back to planet Earth and be like, this isn't about you, girl. Don't stop beating yourself up, because that person's action is about them and not here to just destroy your self-worth. And if I would have considered going back with that man, which he wanted to get back with me, if I'm honest, like he was like, we can do this, blah, 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 the end of the year. And I'm not being disrespectful, but I knew of course he would, because at that time I started like gaining my self-worth and I was like, duh. And honestly, I'll be honest, it did feel nice. That little part of me that was like, okay, validated. But I was like, absolutely not. Like, I can't downgrade. I literally had a husband that would have never cheated on me. You think I'm going to now be with a man that would? Like, why would I do that? Like, I didn't get divorced to be in a worse off situation. I got divorced so I could have the right relationship for both people involved. And this is not us. This is not what it is. And I knew that before. So I flat out told him, like, I know that the person that I am meant to be with would never do that. And I won't get over it. So there's just not a point. Like, I'm not angry at you. And I'm still not. I'm not angry. I'm not mad. I don't think ill of you. And I still want the absolute best for you. But it ain't me. I'm not the one. I'm not the one. And so then I ended up, I feel like I never said this, but I ended up even like blocking him, which was weird for me. I think I talked about it in an episode when I deleted a lot of phone numbers, but I ended up like blocking him because I'm like, I don't even want the feeling of like this coming back, which is like, who is this Heather that blocks people? And it wasn't even out of anger. It was just like, I don't need to hear from you because there's nothing left to say. And honestly, that's so freeing when you're just able to choose yourself and be like, yeah, it's okay. I'm not bitter. I'm not mad, but I just don't need this in my life. And when you choose yourself, your little you is like, yeah. It's a whole vibe. So I'm encouraging you, whether you need to let go of feeling unworthy from someone else's actions toward you, or if you just need to re-examine the relationship you're in and knowing that maybe it isn't right for you because your intuition. And that's the last thing I'll end us on. It truly told me this wasn't for me. And I knew from the beginning. And it's okay because I learned the lesson. The lesson was to listen to myself. The lesson was, okay, Heather, you'll know next time. And when it feels like this, it's a no. And that's how we learn, right? And I will wrap this up by saying, asking you a question, actually. I prepared this. So where am I asking someone else to make me feel worthy? I want you to think about that. And I want you to check out wanderingthewildmess.com because I have so many new things coming, and I've been getting so many requests about mentoring on mindset and divorce. And so I have a lot of exciting things coming on 11/11. So I think this episode will drop right after that. So yay for you to head over there and definitely find what you need. It may just be there. If it's calling you, if it feels aligned, come aboard, let me help you. Or I just want to thank you for being here. And I hope you know that you're worthy and appreciate you again. If you got anything great from this episode, make sure to rate it 5 stars. It means so much and more people will find the podcast. Thank you for listening to Wandering the Wild Mess with Heather Morgan. You matter.